Hello everyone, I'm Heather Dawson, and as always, it's a pleasure bringing you the best of California every week on our show. So let's start off with a trip to Morocco. The 29th annual Rally Asha de Gazelle de Morocco is happening in the deserted parts of southern Morocco across the Sahara Desert. The event attracts women of all walks of life, including royalty. We sent our very own Marco Gutierrez, who caught up with a few princesses in the desert.
Okay, so I'm excited because I just got back from Morocco and I was there for a really crazy and spectacular event. This is the Rally Asha de Gazelles. Rally Asha de Gazelles is the only women-only off-road rally in the world. Women from all over the world, from all ages and all backgrounds, come to this event. This event is on its 28th year. Almost 80% of this year's participants are first-timers.
Do you have experience?
No.
Oh,
Not at all.
It's the first time, and it was actually our first time using a compass and everything.
And the first time like driving.
And the first time driving a 4x4 and everything. So it was just all new for us. Also sleeping in a tent. It was
That's
awesome.
totally new.
All new.
All new.
So the concept of this race is no speed, all 100% off-road and no GPS. They use old school maps to navigate across the Sahara Desert. And that's how they navigate across this entire race.
It's a mental challenge. This is not just a driving challenge, it's definitely mental. Sun is a little bit unsettling. I had a blast, however, navigation-wise is really scary because you cannot see a thing.
And so you're coming along to get an inside look at the Rally Asha de Gazelles. I'm Marco Gutierrez. You're watching California Life.
Welcome back to California Life. I am here with a very special teen star on the rise who plays Becca on the 4 times Emmy-nominated hit series on Hulu, Pen 15. Before I even get into this role as the bully on this comedic tale of awkward middle school years, just tell me a little bit more about how you got started, because from what I read, you were just a 5th grade girl auditioning for school plays, and the next thing you know, you're landing on this Hulu TV series. So
yeah, it's insane. When I was little, I loved performing. I knew I wanted to do something in that field, but I was like, always wanted to be a singer, and I never thought of acting. And I tried out for a school play, and I was terrified when I got the role of Donkey, because I auditioned for a smaller role that had a solo for singing, but it had like 3 lines. And then I got that part and I was like, oh my God, there's so many lines I have to memorize, but I'm a perfectionist. So I spent way too much time on it than I needed to. And it was history after that.
You know, with acting, you're not just playing an easy role here, you're playing the school bully. So what is that like, having to play a bully every day?
I pulled a lot of experiences from my actual life, and I pulled a lot of experiences from Maya and Anna's. And it's definitely, I love that it gives me a platform to speak out about anti-bullying, because I think it's such an important topic that isn't talked about enough. Even in middle school myself, I was a part of an anti-bullying club because it was definitely something I was really passionate about.
besides your acting career, I really want to dive into like your interest in music, because I've heard that you play piano and a little bit of ukulele.
I love being creative. Ever since I was little, I took dance when I was little, I took piano. I'm self-taught on the ukulele, and also, another thing with Pen 15 is Anna and Maya I loved writing when I was little, and I loved songwriting. I started songwriting right around middle school too, kind of from those experiences. It's all raw, it's all fresh, it's all new. So I definitely, over the pandemic, was able to kind of dive into that.
Do you have any plans of expanding into the music industry and now maybe even like the screenwriting side of things? And
Totally. I have a lot of big dreams, so I'm definitely a hard worker and very determined, so I'm hoping to jump into those sides of things as well in the future.
Okay, so back to the show. Do you have any fun things coming up? Fans want to hear about what's next for Becca and the next season.
Well, we finished filming, so basically we had 2 weeks left of filming, and then COVID happened. We were like, oh, it's gonna be a 2-week break, we'll be back. And then it just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and then Anna and Maya both had kids, which is crazy. It's like, it was just insane. And so we went back about a month ago, we finished filming, and I'm really excited for people to see this second leg. It's really exciting, and it's gonna come out in a little bit, probably the end of the year.
Well, I'm so excited to see you shine. You're gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me today. This was so great. You're so bubbly and sweet.
It was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
Right, hi, welcome back to California Life. I'm Elise, and I am here with Ozzy Tesfaye. Looking at your accolades, yes, you've starred in Supergirl, Jane the Virgin, and as well as that, you're also now considered a writer. How did that even happen? How did you get to that point?
I've always loved storytelling, but during the pandemic, I started writing, and I worked with a writing coach and started learning and wrote a sample script for Supergirl. And I was developing some other stuff with people I'd worked with on other shows, and sent it to my showrunners, and they loved it. And then we went from there and ended up joining the writers' room for a month, and then wrote an episode.
Wow, and what was it like co-writing with other people? Just especially as the actor's perspective, you've already been on this show. How did that work?
It was great. I mean, our writers are wonderful and have been on the show for so long, and it was an easier experience in that, you know, being on the show for years, I had a good idea of my character, obviously, and the other characters, and it felt seamless. I can't imagine like joining a room from the beginning and then having to build from there, but because there was so much groundwork already laid, it was great.
And something I also want to bring up is you are also the first Eritrean Ethiopian superhero ever, and Marvel has, like, that's just so interesting to me. And I was wondering, like, when you were writing, and I'll talk about your Guardian costume later, like, did you have any like roots that you wanted to like sprinkle in there, any Easter eggs or just inspiration behind it?
Yeah, totally. You know, the gold pieces in my braids is a nod to my Ethiopian culture. The first scene in the episode, I'm walking out of an Ethiopian restaurant, and my mom's name is actually on the placard of the restaurant. A lot, like, you know, the Ormfell building, which is the building that collapses, is named after Orms, which is one of the first Black comic female writers for DC. So there was a ton of, like, I like those little Easter eggs in an episode, and most of them people I think won't even put together, but for me, there are a lot of cultural nods in it. Even the gold in the superhero suit is an homage to the comics, but also to my East African culture. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, and it's just so interesting to find that out, and even more exciting to watch it looking back and finding those things. So my last question today is just like where you come from, the challenges, just being one of the first people. What do you have any advice for like aspiring young writers, actors, just something that you would give out there for other people?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's advice that I was given, that your perspective and your voice is important, and that no one has the life experience and lens that you do. And and to just start writing and to start telling your story. And there's an audience for that. And to do it and not question yourself, which is hard because you're like, am I good enough or can I do this? And I was lucky enough to have people that believed in me and threw me in the deep end, and you will always swim and survive. And if it's personal to you and you're telling things that matter in your experience, it's not only wonderful for yourself, but you might be able to make someone else feel seen or, make them feel more understood by your art, hopefully.
A new survey from the Prevent Cancer Foundation found that many women skip their annual cancer screening during the pandemic. Well, Dr. Angela Jones from the Ask Dr. Angela podcast is here to encourage women to get their appointments back on the books. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Jones.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Talk to us about the decline in women coming in for their annual screenings.
Absolutely. No doubt there was a decline in women coming in for their annual exams, and most of that primarily was due to just fear of coming into contact with the virus. One of the studies that was done by Prevent Cancer Foundation found that, over 70% of women were really kind of hesitant to schedule appointments because of concern for contracting the virus. I think that now with the vaccines in circulation, people are starting to come out a little bit more.
Now, for you as a doctor, what were some of the more interesting findings from the Prevent Cancer Foundation survey?
Even though we like to blame the pandemic for the lack of women coming out for their annual screenings, that wasn't the only reason. Surprisingly enough, almost a quarter, I think 24% to be exact, of women between the ages of 40 and 60 had not seen their OBGYN or primary care physician in 36 months. That's like jaw-dropping for me.
And how often should women be coming in for their screenings, or for cervical cancer or breast cancer?
That's a really great question. The thing that I'm going to start by saying is, first of all, I think that women need to be seen for an annual exam. And an annual exam doesn't necessarily involve, a pap smear. Screening guidelines are going to be primarily dependent on your age.
I noticed in the survey, nearly 40% of women say they didn't want to come in because they felt awkward or uncomfortable. What's your message to them?
I think that knowing and knowledge is half the battle with these things. So knowing what to expect during exams, and also seeing someone that is helping to empower, embolden, and educate women will help to alleviate a lot of those fears or concerns.
And where can people go to learn more about early detection and cancer prevention?
I'd like to direct women to the preventcancer.org website. So it's preventcancer.org/back on the books. We're certainly excited to get women back on the books and scheduling their annual exams.
Bringing you the best of California, I'm David Wiley for California Life.
Hi, I'm Elise Thurston. I am here with Amy Liz Harrison, author of Eternally Expecting, A Mom of 8 Gets Sober and Gives Birth to a Whole New Life, her own. It's September, and this is also considered National Recovery Month. Something that I love about your work and what you write about is your no shame policy. And so what are 3 healthy ways to have a no shame, no depression attitude towards alcohol?
Well, I think the first thing, at least for me, would be to remember that I do that same thing. I like to numb out with other things now, and it kind of equalizes us, I would say. So trying to remember that kind of essentially we all struggle with things. That would be the first thing. And then secondly, just to be gentle with ourselves, because all of those stressors have taken a huge toll on us, I think, especially because of the pandemic. And then thirdly, really just to have that attitude of acceptance of help. And I think a lot of us don't want to ask for help in our daily lives. I know, at least for me, when I was parenting small kids, I didn't feel like that was an option for me because I stayed at home. So those are the 3 things that come to mind.
How can parents have a healthy way of approaching their kids about alcohol without making them feel ashamed about it, but just educating them in the right way?
Really, what I have tried to foster is just to kind of lead by example. So just to be honest about what I'm struggling with and just to create a safe space for an open dialogue. And then a lot of times what I found is my emotions, doesn't even really matter what the subject is, but my emotions will match up similarly to my teens. And that creates a connection.
How can we conquer this anxiety right now in COVID, in a pandemic, with everything, without drinking?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me has been to be open-minded and willing to try new things and to stay curious. So maybe it's somebody's into meditation that you know, and maybe you haven't tried that really before, and you're wondering what that might look like in your own life. And just to be able to have that perspective of, you know what, I'm going to give it a whirl.
I think some of the other things that seniors can do are just, make sure that you're attending to your oral health at home and make that appointment. It's important to highlight that companies like ours, Delta Dental, we offer flexible, affordable individual plans for seniors. We've put a lot of resources for folks 65 and older at ddins.co/healthy aging.
Hey guys, Jason Rasidlo coming to you from inside the Las Vegas Convention Center for the return of the International Pizza Expo and Conference. Come along with me as we go for a tour. Pizza, sausage, gelato, cake. Those were just some of the foods attendees could sample. The annual event also featured live cooking demos on multiple stages.
Active dry yeast and instant versus versus fresh. You tend to use to have 3 times the amount of fresh to dry.
Eddie Foods brought their barbecue food to the Pizza Expo to encourage restaurants to think outside the box.
Got smoked pulled pork, sliced smoked sausage, and then diced smoked sausage. We're a smoked meat and sausage manufacturer out of Yoakum, Texas, South Central Texas. We do all naturally hardwood smoked meats and sausage, barbecue. Turkey legs is a huge part of our business. Yeah, so we have national distribution through all the major suppliers. Our legacy footprint is Texas, but we have full coverage across the United States. So far, so good. We're really enjoying it. We're hopeful to see a lot of pizzas thinking outside the pizza box and put some barbecue on there.
Violife introduced their plant-based cheeses that are 100% vegan.
We are here at the show showing off our products and how amazing they are on pizza, which is obviously at the Pizza Expo. But we have a wide range of products beyond just our shredded for pizza. We have feta cheese, cheddar, provolone slices, whole range Parmesan, whole range of great products. And we're really the world's leader in vegan cheese. Clean ingredients, nothing artificial. You can get our retail packs like this all over the country at Whole Foods and Walmart and pretty much anywhere else.
There was even a pretzel company at the Pizza Expo. Who would have thought? Uni showed off their brand new pizza ovens. It can cook a pizza in just under 2 minutes. Wow.
So what we have here is our newest oven, which is the Karu 16 multi-fuel pizza oven. So out of the box, it's ready to go, cooking on wood or charcoal. And then you can also get an optional gas burner to cook on propane. It's a B7 oven, gets up to 950 degrees, and it is has a built-in thermometer, as you can see, and it is a really great oven to cook pizzas and meats and all sorts of different things on.
General Mills asked attendees to vote on their favorite pizza crust. The Pillsbury Doughboy also made an appearance too. Bringing you the best of California from the International Pizza Expo and Conference, I'm Jason Rasidlo for California Life.
And that's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website, californialifehd.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm your host, Heather Dawson. We'll see you next time.
Watch us on our YouTube channel. Stay connected to our social media, like our blogs on Facebook. Follow our tweets on Twitter. And check out our posts on Instagram and Pinterest, where we bring you the best of California.